corpse husband stands, y'all need to stop. But you know what doesn't need to stop? You guys generously purchasing my merch, of which I'm wearing one right now, the new Nutcracker long sleeve design. Head over down in the link below or over to the YouTube shelf to check out some of that merch. Pick up this design, it'll be around for the holidays, and to be honest, it's good enough that it could last all winter. Quick word from the designer who's crinkling stuff. Are you gonna say anything, or are you just gonna look like a hot dog?
Oh.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh. Wow, that was great. I really appreciate that. You added a lot.
I prefer corpse husband to my own boyfriend. Is that funny? Or just sad?
This is why I'm making the video, okay? Guys, I haven't seen horniness this strong since the local townie OnlyFans put her dime store iPhone 4 selfies 50% off on OnlyFans. Listen, last time I checked, the only thing that goes on sale that often is a mattress, and we all know that those are fronts for the mob. So, coincidence? I think not. OnlyFans ran by the Italian mafia. Please see this disclaimer for this statement. Ironically, much like the mattress in the store, if you keep putting money inside it, it actually will not go home with you and you will not be able to sleep on it. Anyway, guys, I consider myself a stand scientist, and Corpse Husband is my greatest work so far. That's right, guys. Corpse Husband has been a Harvard experiment, much like Timmy Thick. I thank you all for your participation. No, seriously, but we use a equation to figure out how much horniness is going around. And I call this the horny coefficient. It's in my doctorate, okay? Anyway, the current equation goes like this. A plus C times 2 plus lore times ST. And I bet you're wondering what the hell that means, and what does it equal? It equals unwanted horniness levels. Now let's break down each one of those letters. So as you can see here, the highest you can go on A, alternative, is 10. Alternativeness is equated to horniness because everybody knows that bad boys and bad girls get all the memes made about them. Except for those other guys that are like, I want this now for some reason. I don't know. I guess it's like a reject modernity, embrace tradition thing. Guys, 4chan's great days have been behind it for a long time now. I don't know what to tell you. Now, A can have a maximum value of 10. And after looking at Corpse Husband, I can tell you he's a 10. And C stands for clout. And clout is times by 2 because people always overvalue how much clout is worth, because it turns out you can't pay the bills with Instagram followers. So since everybody overestimates the value of clout, clout is times by itself. Now, lore is an interesting one because lore stands for lack of real relationships. So let's say Susie is 16 with no real relationship experience. So then she's a 10 on the lore scale. And she spends 8 hours a day, ST is screen time. She spends 8 hours a day on her screen on her computer doing online school. But we all know that's a joke, so nobody does anything in online school, am I right, guys? So here is our test equation to explain how much unwanted horniness levels, or UHL, is happening. So the equation is 10 times 12 million plus 80. And as we say in science, the answer to this equation is a whole lot of unwanted horniness. But Diesel, you say, do you have any facts to back this up? And you know, I'm really glad you asked, you science-minded fact chaser. I should call you a small Jewish man who is a conservative political pundit. But let's turn our attention to Exhibit A. A Twitter conversation, because only normal people use Twitter. Who genuinely listens to this neighbor? Says someone who listens to Lil Uzi. You're saying Corpse better than Uzi? 1, yes. 2, we can have different opinions. And if you can't understand that, then leave. 3, apparently 1.8 million people listen to him. Corpse Husband. Here's another conversation that's happening in this thread between Lil Uzi and Corpse Husband. Dog, you really just said the Corpse better than Lil Uzi? But Corpse is better than Lil Uzi. And if you say different, you're just a hater with a small peen. No takebacks or returns. Listen, bud, I didn't even buy my penis in a store. You guys were allowed to buy yours? Now, that's true cyberpunk. At least I get to live in a day and age where we have full frontal nudity in video games. Isn't that amazing? So Joe Schmo Santa the Third responded, "No takebacks or returns? What are you, 5 years old? And if you're 5 years old, you'll be doing the one with the small dick, buddy. Kids, calm down." So Gohan responded, "I have an anime profile picture. So obviously, my dick is pretty large, huge, humongous. You aren't funny, bro." Great comeback. Tanith, great comeback, 10 out of 10. He doesn't even make music that is similar to Lil Uzi at all. You know, recently I saw like this thing on Twitter where somebody was like, "I'm white, can I call him the baby or do I have to say the baby?" If you're white, you're just not allowed to shorten things, you know? You can't say Lil Uzi, you know, you gotta say the little Uzi automatic submachine gun. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Lil Uzi, but I don't think anybody could sit here and argue that Lil Uzi doesn't have more mainstream appeal than, you know, the alternative, deep-voiced, like, pop-punk rap guy that Corpse Husband is. He's like proper celebrity. Like, you can love Corpse Husband, but let's just realize the difference in celebrity here. Internet person, Lil Uzi. Technically, if we're going by my binary horny coefficient, Lil Uzi produces more horniness. Now, if we want to talk music and making comparisons, Lil Uzi is also an awful comparison. I mean, there are better guys than Corpse making music that is similar to his. I think Ghostmane is a great example, who makes music that I think could be classified kind of like in the same genre as the Corpse Husband. There's a lot of rappers. I think I would put Lil Darky in that same range of rappers as well that make similar kind of music that you're like, oh, I like that. And those of you who are more savvy with rap music in general could probably give me a list of rappers similar to Corpse Husband that are better comparisons, right? Or if you're somebody who's like looking for that kind of music. I will say though that it's beautiful how the internet can bring anime profile pictures and I don't know, like r/Black people Twitter together to just engage in a virtual dick measuring competition. If I ever wanted to have a video with no ads on it, this would be the one. Great time to do it, Diesel. It's only the middle of December, which is sorry, don't know what happened. This is why you should buy my merch. Now, this is great and all, but this doesn't really tell me how much painful stan culture is going on surrounding Corpse Husband. And I will say something serious about this at the end of the video, but not before I subject you all to this Corpse Husband fan fiction that I found that is absolutely hilarious. Let's all buckle in for this one because you're gonna need to be buckled in. Author's note. Hi, this is my first ever story. I've always wanted to write, but never found a time, and here I am at 4:49 a.m. Okay, we got the little star. You and Corpse are sitting in your bed, not cuddling, but in your own space, watching whatever you prefer. Individually. You and Corpse have never had any sexual activities ever. Anyway, there's also a comma, he's not, upside down, smiley face. I'm sorry, I don't think, I won't say your name, but I don't think he was ever gonna be the one that you popped the cherry with. It just wasn't gonna happen. Y'all love to touch up on each other and shit. Sometimes, though, so today he was about to put his hand up your shirt when he saw you weren't wearing a bra. Comma, it wasn't a shock to him, so he kinda started moving his hand away. Comma, you put his hand back on your boob/breast. You know this is the same thing, right? And smirked because of the look on his face. He then began to cares your boob whilst letting out small moans. He then began to jerk himself off. Corpse, frick. Your name here, and I think we'll just use Kappa. Sorry, Kappa. No, should I use quite? We'll use quite. You just act like nothing's happening. You began to feel horny as this was your first time hearing him moan. Author's note. THY, who, what, hear his moans/grunts is the luckiest person on earth, drooling face emoji. What do teenagers do in their free time that this is what happens? I'm gonna smack you. You then sat up beside him and held his head close to yours as you made out with him, comma, you then began to jerk him off as he looked into your eyes. Random comma in the middle of a huge space. Okay. His eyes shut as he reached his high. That's a weird way to put it. Could have made that less weird if you were just like, his eyes shut as he reached the climax. And he moans your name really loud. Sorry, quite. Comma, embarrassed of this, he began blushing like crazy. You then, trying to look innocently sexy, liked his mess. Is that licked his mess? And came back up, acting as if nothing happened. Yeah, just ate your load. No big deal. Yeah, no problem, broski. Got you covered. Made sure you're clean down there. Impressive. Author's note. Thanks for reading. I feel like I could have done it better, to be honest. But yeah, these smuts are things I imagine myself doing. I ain't a believer, but if there's a God, he's sending her to hell. But can't find them on the hub. I don't want your votes or anything, but yeah, hoped you liked. And if you have any tips, that would be amazing. Yeah, well, I actually have a couple of tips. You're not use less commas. You're not in Oxford. And Grammarly, not even a sponsor, but I use them for script writing, and there's a reason. And I should mention that there are endless and endless pages of these, man. Either they're all like major Simpin 9000, which is a banned term now on Twitch. Great move, guys. I guess I'm streaming on YouTube from now on. So either these are all like I'm mega thirsty, or they're just him. They're just yaoi. They're either like super thirsty self-inserts or like yaoi. Also, there's a surprising like amount of unintentional science fiction because for some reason people just want to get jiggy with it in Among Us. Like, so what's my take on this, right? Because this is like weird as hell. I gotta be honest. I feel bad for the dude. I really do. And I mean that with like a lot of like respect for what he has achieved, especially recently. I know from people I personally know that the whole not showing your face mysterious thing just allows for people to insert the most like handsome man of your dreams type of look, you know, especially if you have like a quote unquote sexy voice like he has, right? Where, you know, people just insert like how hot you are or what you look like, you know. It's that idea of mystery. Like you see all those like those dirty novels you see at Barnes & Noble where they have like the man, but it's like cut off right below the neck so you don't see his face. So you can just put in whatever face you want, really, at the end of the day. Like, it's a shame because on one hand, Corpse is now being rewarded for pursuing his art, which he's had a passion for, right? But then on the other hand, you know, you start to think maybe people don't like the art for the art and they just think, oh yeah, he's just hot. They're like fascinated with the idea of him rather than the content he puts out. You know, and that sucks, right? I think anybody who does like art will feel like upset if that's why they're famous rather than the work that they do. And then especially since he has anxiety on top of that, and a lot of these people are just obsessed with the idea of him, you know, this could really push him to not make more music, which is something he's expressed in the past because he probably feels it has to be a banger and that he has to, you know, get all these people to like love it and love him. And it's probably pretty stressful on his half, you know, so I understand people would say, oh, well, he doesn't want us to sexualize him. Doesn't matter what you say or do, it's gonna keep happening. But the question is that good enough for his art? Is that gonna help him? If it's not, don't. Obviously, I have a staunch stance against stan culture in general, but more so than that, I also have a strict don't lewd real people unless they're deliberately going out to be lewd. And I don't see him starting an OnlyFans anytime soon, so. Also, I think his vocals are due partially to his GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. Don't quote me on that, also not a doctor. But it's like, we're gonna call that sex. Like, come on, man. Like, give this guy some, like, fucking respect. I mean, yeah, I get it. He's hashtag blessed as hell. No doubt about it. But, you know, it's also a curse on the other hand, because you become like this overnight success, and it's crazy, and you got to deal with that, right? So if he's super serious about the music thing, I can understand why this stuff would get to him, because it's pretty bad. I found a lot more than that. I read so much garbage fan fiction, and that was just my favorite one. But it's a real shame. I don't know, I personally feel like a lot of people don't appreciate the music for what it is and more or less get fixated on the idea of hooking up with him. And you don't even know what he looks like, man. I mean, he might look like an average guy, but he might also look like a hella ugly, you know? Just saying. I don't think he's an ugly guy. I don't know, but you know. Anyway, follow me on the social medias. Here's my gram. Go follow me on there. Here's my Twitter. Don't follow me on there, but follow me anyway. And make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. I'd like to hit 200K by the end of the year, but that's clearly not gonna happen. So I might as well stick my hand in a blender. Make a video like that. There we go.